手を取れ、フリーレン。君が旅立つきっかけはこの僕だ。
What if the most important character in a story is the one who dies in the first episode? For the elf Frieren, a 10-year adventure with Himmel felt like a fleeting moment in her immortal life. It's only decades later, standing before his coffin, that she finds herself crying at his funeral, filled with the profound regret of not having truly gotten to know him better. This moment is the pivotal turning point that reshapes Frieren's entire existence. It is the catalyst for the journey we see on screen and the foundation of Himmel's true posthumous victory. A victory not over a demon king, but over the loneliness of a 1,000-year lifespan. This is an analysis of how Himmel's character was constructed to win the entire story before it even truly began. First, the narrative establishes Himmel's public credentials as the archetypal hero. He is the charismatic leader who defeated the Demon King, the face of an entire era of peace. He was also a man deeply concerned with his own image, a showman who openly joked about his own handsomeness and insisted on being remembered in a grand fashion. This focus on his image was met with amusement and support from his companions. Heiter, in particular, acted as his steadfast counsel, seeing the ideal adult in Himmel and encouraging him to simply be himself. Eisen, the warrior of few words, showed a deep, unwavering respect for the man behind the performance. Theirs was a bond of true camaraderie. This is perfectly captured by the story of his sword. The blade he famously carried was a cheap replica, a gift from a merchant he had saved. His deep desire to find the real hero's sword wasn't about vanity or looking cooler in the final battle. It was a personal quest to prove his genuine heroism, born from Heiter's early teasing that he might end up a fake hero with a fake sword. The story doesn't present a narcissistic hero with annoyed friends. It presents a man who carefully crafted his heroic image, supported by companions who understood and cherished the true, good-hearted idealists they travelled with. The true genius of Himmel's character is revealed not in his grand battles, but in his small, deliberate, private actions. These moments show he wasn't just a hero. He was an architect of memory, building a future for someone he knew he would never share it with. Consider the statues. On the surface, it seems like simple vanity. But Himmel's motivation was a calculated act of kindness, designed to combat a specific future problem, Frieren's loneliness. He wasn't just building monuments to himself, he was planting signposts in Frieren's timeline, ensuring that in the centuries to come, she would have familiar places and memories to return to. He knew that the stoic elf who struggled to connect would one day need these anchors to the past, and he built them for her. This foresight is most brilliantly captured in the ring scene. As a reward for a quest, Himmel allows Frieren to choose any accessory she likes. She, in her typically detached manner, picks out a ring without much thought. But the ring she happens to choose is engraved with a mirrored lotus, a flower which carries a profound meaning of eternal affection. Himmel doesn't guide her to a different choice. Instead, he recognizes the deep symbolism in the object she unthinkingly selected. In this moment of pure chance, he sees an opportunity. He accepts her choice, and it is his reaction that imbues the object with its true power. He then kneels and places it on her finger. The gesture is loaded with human meaning, a proposal, a vow. For Himmel, it was an act of profound commitment. He was cementing a symbol of eternal love onto her hand, fully aware that she would not understand its true weight for decades, if not centuries. He was planting a memory, a piece of evidence of his feelings that she could only decipher with time. And, as the anime later shows, he was right. The ring she chose so casually becomes one of her most treasured possessions, proving his long-term emotional gambit was a success. This pattern is consistent. His heroism wasn't a single event at the Demon King's castle. It was a constant, low-level radiation of compassion. He understood that a hero's true legacy isn't just in saving the world, but in making the world worth living in for the people you care about, one small, deliberate act at a time. With Himmel's true architectural nature established, his function in the present-day narrative becomes clear. He is Frieren's guiding ghost. Her entire journey to the northern lands is, in essence, an attempt to walk in his footsteps one last time, to finally understand the man she travelled with for a decade. Consider the confrontation with Quoll, the sage of corruption. His magic, Zoltrak, was so devastating that it reshaped the very fundamentals of magical combat for an entire era. Frieren's initial assessment is based on this reality, but it is by physically retracing their original path that she is able to see the full picture of Himmel's strategy. His genius was in recognizing that they couldn't win a battle of attrition. Himmel's decision to seal Quoll was not an act of weakness, but one of immense strategic foresight. He bought humanity the crucial decades it needed for its mages to study, analyze, and ultimately neutralize the threat of Zoltrak, turning it into a common spell. His influence also reshapes her role as a leader. While Frieren never explicitly calls herself a terrible teacher, her behavior suggests a reluctance to take on the role. She initially declines to mentor Fern, and her disorganized habits often lead to Fern acting as her caretaker. Yet, as her journey progresses, her actions begin to be guided by memories of Himmel's leadership. She begins to, however awkwardly, offer positive reinforcement to Stark and Fern. Remembering how Himmel valued his companions, she takes a more active, protective role in Fern's life, ensuring a staff is repaired simply because it is important to her. She is slowly, unconsciously, adopting the methods of the leader she is only now beginning to fully appreciate. Each step she takes forward is guided by a memory looking back. She is not just travelling, she is performing an act of pilgrimage. Every side quest she accepts, every person she helps, every piece of advice she gives her new companions is a conversation she is having with his memory. Every step she takes forward is guided by a memory looking back, finally understanding the lessons he was trying to teach her all those years ago. What small act of Himmel's do you think had the biggest impact on the story? Leave your analysis in the comments. If breaking down the brilliant writing behind characters like Himmel is your kind of content, consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.